Hey everybody, it's Josh Alexander from Orange County Housing Market News. The kids are back in school in Orange County, and pumpkin spice everything, including alcohol this year, are here. So that could only mean one thing. Fall is about to start. And for the housing market, a few things are going to be changing. And that's what we're going to be looking at during today's episode. But first, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. If this is the first time you're tuning into the show, this show is all about Orange County real estate. So I go over local trends in the market, I interview other experts in the field, and then I also go over some tricks and tips for both buyers and sellers that you need to know in today's housing market to be as successful as possible. So if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, this is a great place to start. So let's go ahead and get into my fall housing market forecast. Okay, so really quick before we get into everything, if you are finding this content useful, can you please hit that like and subscribe button below? And if you're watching this on YouTube, can you also hit that bell button? That way you're notified every time a new episode comes out. So let's go ahead and start looking at what happened during the month of August, and then we'll get into what I expect to happen over the next 3 months, all the way through November. So for the month of August, there really isn't that much excitement to report in the housing market. So everything remained relatively unchanged. So if you remember during my last update I did at the very beginning of August, I let you know that the wild swings in supply and demand that we saw towards the beginning of summer had started calming down, everything was leveling off, and you should expect to see demand slightly drop during August, but really nothing much more than that. And that's exactly what happened. So if you look on the supply side of things, at the beginning of August, we started out with about 2,500 homes on the market. At the end of August, we ended with about 2,500 homes on the market. So supply-wise, we really didn't see any significant change whatsoever. On the demand side, we only saw about a 4% drop. So yes, there was a slight drop in demand, which is typical for this time of year. As kids go back to school, less buyers are in the market. They don't want to move when kids are going right back into their classrooms. So you start seeing that demand drop. So that's very typical. However, you really don't see any significant impact when there's only about a 4% decrease in demand. So at the beginning of the month, we are in an extremely hot seller's market. And at the end of the month of August, we're still in an extremely hot seller's market. So really not much has changed. And on the interest rate side, yes, we went up slightly. We started August around 2.77, ended August right around 2.87 for a 30-year fixed mortgage. But really, interest rates over the last 6 to 8 weeks really haven't fluctuated much. They've stayed under 3%. They stayed relatively normal. And yes, we expect them to continue slowly rising for the rest of the year, but nothing dramatic. So overall, the housing market is just kind of stuck in the mud. There's nothing that really happened. If you were buying a home at the beginning of August, it's the same type of conditions as it is at the end of August right now, and you really haven't seen any significant difference. So now let's go ahead and get you updated on all the new information on the eviction moratorium, as well as foreclosures, so you know where we stand on that, because those are the two most common housing market updates that you see in the news right now. So I want to make sure that you're informed on those two things. So let's start with the eviction side of things first. So you may have seen in the news recently that the federal eviction ban that they tried to keep in place until October got overturned, and there's no longer an eviction ban in place. Now, federally, that's going to be the case. However, in California, we still have our state-mandated eviction moratorium going on until the end of September. So even though federally the eviction ban was overturned, in California, you still can't evict tenants until the 30th of the month. Now, if you remember my last episode I talked all about the different programs out there to help with rent relief and how to apply for them. So if you're a tenant that is behind on rent, behind on utilities, please check the episode out. I'll put a link up here as well so you can get that information, because there's just not enough people taking advantage of that program right now. Nationwide, only about 10% of the funds that have been dedicated to help out with rent relief have been used right now. So there's billions of dollars left for tenants to take advantage of to be able to pay back their landlords, so they can get back to being on time with their payments, and moving forward, they don't have to worry about being evicted. Now, California, as well as the rest of the United States, really didn't roll these programs out for rent relief very well, which is one of the major reasons why we haven't seen these funds go out quickly. So that's all on them. However, they are starting to finally clean up the process. They have a new website. The paperwork's much clearer. They have hotlines you can call. Almost any language you need, they have access to, so you can be able to get that information, get the paperwork in, and get those funds to you so they can get to your landlord, so you can get back to being up to date on your rental payments as well as utility payments. And they even give up to 3 months advance, so if you know you're not going to be able to make your payment for another month, 2 or 3, you'll be able to get funds to cover that as well. So please check out that episode and make sure you're taking advantage of all this money out there to help keep you in your house so you don't have to worry about getting evicted. Now, on the forbearance side of things, forbearance numbers have gone down slightly. We're sitting at about 1.6 million people that are still in forbearance, that are still in danger of losing their homes. However, if you watch my last market update, I went through a bunch of reasons why that's not going to lead to some kind of housing crash when these homes eventually hit the market. There's just not enough of them on the market to do so. However, one thing you do want to watch if you are watching these foreclosures very closely is the next 60 days, because according to Black Knight, out of the 1.6 million people that are still in forbearance, 750,000 of those forbearance programs are going to end either this month or in October. So that's a large majority of those forbearance programs. So we're going to get the data to that, probably not till the end of October, but we're going to see what these homeowners are doing when they're coming out of these programs. And that should give us a better idea of what kind of inventory to expect to see as we go into 2022. Because remember, foreclosures take a long time. So even though they might get out of the forbearance period and they have to go through foreclosures, because some of them unfortunately will, a lot of this time takes 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even up to a year to get this process to go through. So you're really not going to see these homes hit the market until probably spring of next year, because it just takes so long to go through the foreclosure process. Now, let's go ahead and start looking at what most of you are probably on here for, is what to expect over the next 3 months going through November in the housing market. So like I said, with August, things haven't changed much. Inventory remained about the same. Demand remained about the same. Interest rates went up slightly. And you can kind of expect that trend to continue. So right now, we're thinking we're at the peak of in terms of what inventory is going to do for the year. So from this point forward, we expect inventory to slowly drop as we go through the next couple months. And then when we hit that second or third week of November, that's typically when you see a much more dramatic drop as we go into the holiday season and people pull their homes off the market and they throw in the towel until next year. So now through November, expect inventory to continue to drop, as we've most likely hit the peak inventory for the numbers that we were looking at, because we have plateaued in terms of the active listings on the market. And as kids go back to school, as we get further into fall, typically you're going to see that traditional inventory decline. Now, on the demand side of things, just like supply side, don't expect any significant shifts from now through November. Yes, demand will continue to decrease slightly, but that will coincide with supply decreasing as well. So it should keep this hot sellers market relatively stable through the rest of this year. So if you're a buyer, unfortunately, if you're waiting for the fall market, hoping that you're going to see a bunch of homes hit the market and be able to get a great deal, right now, based on the data that we're looking at, there's just nothing showing that's going to happen. It looks like supply and demand will slowly decline together as we go through fall, all the way till we hit November. Again, the second or third week of November, when you see both supply and demand take a much larger dip as we head to the holiday season, to the slowest time in real estate, which is usually December and January. Now, on the interest rate side of things, at the beginning of this year, we expected interest rates, especially after the summer, to start increasing more significantly as we got towards the end of this year. However, because interest rates have been so stable over the last almost 2 months now, we really don't expect interest rates to climb that much by the end of the year. So yes, we're expecting them to continue to go upward at a slow pace, but again, because it's a slow pace, don't expect that to dramatically change the market from where we are now. So interest rates might go above 3%, 3.1, 3.2 by the end of the year at the most, but we're really not going to see numbers higher than that until at least sometime in 2022. So overall, the housing market over the next 3 months is really going to feel very stuck in the mud. There's nothing significant that's going to happen based on all the data. The demand will slowly go down, supply will slowly go down, interest rates will slightly rise as we go through the next couple months, and we're going to continue to be in a significantly hot seller's market where you're going to see appreciation happen week after week as we go through the rest of the year. So homeowners are celebrating right now because their home values are going to continue to rise. Buyers, unfortunately, the longer you wait at this point, the higher interest rates will go, and the higher appreciation is going to go, further locking you out of some of those homes that you might be able to afford right now. So buyers, what does this mean for you for the fall market, and what do I recommend? Well, like I just said, appreciation is going to continue to happen week after week. We're still getting 70% of homes right now having multiple offers going above asking price in California, and we expect that trend to continue. So if you're able to start the process of buying a home right now, talk to a lender, get that started, and get into the market as soon as you can so you can take advantage of the prices where they are right now before they start going up even higher. And if you have no idea where to start, how to budget, or anything like that, please see the show notes below because I put a free link in there for an ebook that goes over everything you need to know about budgeting for a house, how to create a budget, and make sure you stay within that budget when you go out to look for a home. So check that link out if you want that free ebook. It's a great resource and a great place to start. So sellers, what does the fall market mean for you, and what is my advice for you? Well, like I said, yes, you're going to see appreciation happen month after month, week after week as we go through the rest of the year. However, the farther we get into the year, the more demand is going to drop. And even though supply is dropping at the same time, you are going to see less traffic in your home. So if you're thinking about getting on the market, the sooner the better, because right now you're still having a 30 to 40 day escrow period for most transactions. And a lot of buyers don't want to be in escrow as they get through Thanksgiving, which means they want to get into escrow sometime in October, which only gives you about a month and a half to be able to get your house on the market, to take advantage of this high demand and be able to get the maximum amount of buyers through your property and ultimately the best price for your home. So try to make sure you get your house on the market by mid-October at the latest to make sure you're taking advantage of every ounce of demand you can before we get into the holiday season. So that's all I have for the fall housing market forecast for you. Again, if you're finding this information useful, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to get some more information about some of the top mistakes that buyers are making in today's market that is preventing them from getting into escrow, please check out this video right here where I go over the top 5 mistakes that buyers are making and how to avoid them. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you later. Bye.